Uh, I do want to, well, I know a bunch of people are waiting, so let's take your phone calls and see how you're doing. And then I got some stuff I want to talk about. Hey, you're on the air. How are you?
Hey, I'm doing great, Jed. What a time to be alive, man. 6:27 a.m. I got up early. I mean, all these things went bonkers overnight. And I just want to know how Trump fans out there, how did they let it happen so fast? And how are they going to defend it? I mean, I don't know if you remember, but in the near past, I've said there might be an event that makes COVID look like kindergarten. You remember how I've been saying this for a while? Well, it's almost here, Jed. But let's talk about what happened yesterday, because two things Trump has done, I am beyond interested. I mean, I've got it flooded with calls to get Brad in on this one to ask how Trump fans, or anyone literally for that matter, is going to explain two big things. For one, he's going to let in 600,000 Chinese kids into the country and give them college precedence over our American students. Go listen to what Lutnick had to say yesterday. Quote, if you didn't have those 6,000 Chinese students, the bottom 15% of colleges will go out of business. So is this guy selling our children, our sons and daughters on the way to college? Is he selling them out for money? That's not America First, folks. There is nothing America First about that. And secondly, really quickly here, if I don't mind, since I got up so early, I love my armed forces. I have many friends that are in the armed forces, from start to finish, from guys that are decorated snipers to guys that peel potatoes. And I've called a few. But to me, besides loving the armed forces, my main and most important right as a U.S. citizen is my freedom of speech. And knowing that I respect anyone, including a veteran, I had to make a point here. Do you know what happened yesterday with an executive order that he signed? You're not allowed to burn an American flag anymore, or that results in 1 year in prison. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. You've just taken that away. Now, I personally do not think it's okay to burn a flag. I don't. I like my country. I don't want to disrespect it. But I also have to respect what rights I have here and what everybody else has, because this is a special place. And if you want to burn whatever the hell you want, you better be able to burn it. Okay, now this is a big political doozy here, okay? And I think there's more to it. And that event that I'm talking about just might turn out to be a mass arrest of people in 19 states. Why is the National Guard immediately being federalized? What kind of event is going to happen? I mean, you got Obama out there making speeches that he may just need his voter base to not believe whatever it is about we're about to hear. So I don't know. I just wanted your thoughts on that. What do you think about burning the flag? Because do you think it's going to just stop there? And do you think before you know it, they're going to ask me to burn out my tongue as well? I don't know. I'm really on the fence, man. I'm really weary. I've been saying it since the start.
I think one of the things that is kind of exemplary, and or you're an example of, is
thank you,
that things are happening so fast and so deeply divided, and one way of Trump kind of going towards some sort of chaos kind of thing, and then Democrats going toward the status quo kind of, and really not knowing what to do. And it's really a very difficult time to kind of internalize everything that's happening, and it can really get you down. And it doesn't even if you're a Trumper or you're an anti-Trumper, it doesn't matter. Or if you're trying in the middle and you're just watching a tennis match going back and forth, which is really good tennis on TV right now. I don't think that in my lifetime I've been on the air, which I've been on the air off and on for 40 years, and certainly not on the air, but even in my personal life when I'm going out and I talk to people, it's like two different worlds. It seems like most people kind of get along here in the region, and you go places and hey, how you doing? How you doing? Go to a family picnic and everybody's on different sides, and then you go and you watch what's happening on TV all day long and what's happening in Washington, and it's complete cluster truck, and it's just complete venom and scratching for power and money that isn't really what's happening here on the ground. Does that make sense? It's like two Americas.
Oh, absolutely. It's unbelievable. Everyone is choosing the lesser of what they believe are two evils. And I refuse. And in the end, I'm going to win. I'm going to be the one that sits above.
What you're doing is really the hardest way, because you're basically fighting two wars. Because if you're trying to keep yourself above the fray or outside of it or just watching it, it's almost impossible with the amount of messages and with the amount of kind of hatred that is going on in America to do that. It is. It's overwhelming, and I think you've heard me talk about it too. In that, I've been doing this all these years. I have never felt this amount of venom in what comes to us from our computers and our phones and our TVs, and then kind of lack of venom on the streets. Doesn't make any sense to me. I can't even figure it out.
No, and you notice there's no venom or anything unless politics are brought up. And that's where my point is, that no one will stand in the middle anymore and actually put these guys to the wall and say, I don't care what party you're with. You are to be watched like a hawk, because you're both abide by Congress, and it's all corrupted from start to finish in one way or another, and nobody wants to stand up. And I'm sorry if that destroys the system. I'm sorry if that rocks your world. But until we hold everyone accountable for what's going on here, we are going down the worst path we could ever go down. This is just anti-American as it can get. If you can't say that I've lost my freedom of speech, it's a piece of cloth. And yes, it has a ton of things. I have family and friends that have literally died in war and have gone over to Iraq and have sick, lost problems. But they were on the phone with me last night saying, well, I still think they should be able to burn the flag. I mean, it's their right. Not everybody's right here. So I'm really interested to see how everyone is going to defend and spin this. This is going to be beyond belief.
I don't know about that one. You know what I mean? It's
which one?
Obviously I defend free speech, but I'm going to hang up and tell you a story that happened a long time ago. Hey, man, I'm with you. I understand the frustration in both sides and even people trying to stay out of it. And I don't have any solutions. Honestly, I think it's going to get much, much worse before it improves.
I do too.
All right, man. Thanks for your phone call.
Radio to get going. You got it. Have a good one.
So I very rarely tell anything to do with, when I went to Berkeley and went to school. I think it's just like a book I'll write one day or whatever. But I don't want to give too much up about how I lived and so forth, but I lived a kind of alternative lifestyle with boxing, and I boxed all around the West Coast. Believe it or not, it's my nose. You can see it. I just got hit so many times in the face. But anyways, so I meet this woman, and so we're starting hanging around, and she's like all into protesting things, and I forget what it was. I think it was like CIA out of Nicaragua. So here I am, this Midwestern dude, right? And I'm just kind of hanging out of, and she's like, hey, you want to go to this protest with me? And I'm a boxer, right? So, I think I had a little cut eye, and I got my hair short, and she's like, well, hey, can you put this shirt on? And I'm like, what's it say? It's like CIA out of Nicaragua, if I remember. I go, well, I'll tell you what. I got a Grateful Dead shirt on. I'll just put that on. It kind of fits the scene, right? So I put that on, and I go walking out there, and we go to this protest. I don't know anything about what they're protesting, but I do know that I was often very singular in my purpose and mission of garnering favors from young women, okay? It happened to be for about 10, 12 years until I met Alexis, it was the number one thing on my mind when I woke up in the morning. And when it was 2 o'clock, when it's let's say it's midnight at a bar in California, and none of your high school buddies there, no Joe Preboy, no Dan Nagy, no Dennis Wood, and you know what? You kind of you open up the the different regulations and the different rules that might they might apply in certain areas here in the region would not apply there. And but anyways, she was really pretty, and I'm kind of taken under the whole thing. So we go and we're walking in this protest, and I'm like, just the Midwestern dude going, what am I supposed to say? All right, CIA out of Nicaragua. Why is the CIA in Nicaragua, and why do we want them out of Nicaragua? I don't know. But I'm walking along with this woman and then some of her friends, and then it's going all the way through campus, and it's a big protest. But then there's some anti-protesters, right? And some guys from some of the fraternities and stuff. One of them I knew, he was a boxer also. And they're kind of coming along, and there's a few hundred people. And I'm like, wow, this is actually kind of interesting. It's kind of like doing the morning show now. People are yelling at each other, screw you, blah, blah, blah. And then finally, one of the protesters, the CIA out of Nicaragua side, starts burning the American flag. And then there's like 3 or 4 other dudes with it. And I'm like, hey, dude, you shouldn't be doing that. What are you doing? And so I walk up there, and I'm like, hey, don't do this. And then they're like, oh, who are you? Blah, blah, blah. I thought you were on our side. I go, hey, I'm on America's side here, and don't burn the flag. And one guy stands up next to me and kind of bumps up against me, and I'm like, uh-oh, not at this time of life, because all I had at all in the boxing ring was a pretty good right hook. And so he's pushed me, all right, and I back up, and then the other guy stands up. And so next thing you know, I'm kind of in a little scuffle with these guys. And at the same time, the fraternity guys that are on the other side, on the, I guess, the more conservative side, get involved. And then there's this big melee of guys punching each other. And, I was one of the people in it, and I'm not even really sure what side I'm punching people on. I mean, is he on the defending the burning of the flag, or is this guy saying, no, don't burn but it just became a big melee, and then it was on the front page of like the national newspapers the next day. So I'm not the person to ask about burning the flag. I'm certainly a defender of free speech, but come on, man. I mean, there's got to be a few things that are sacred. But do you say, all right, it's sacred, but we still have to tolerate the fact that a guy a man or a woman or a group wants to burn the American flag? I don't know. My jury is out on that one. All I know is that I'm in a fight, and I don't even know who I'm punching or what side I'm on. And the moral of that story was that the woman saw that I was like, hey, don't do that, and I was like confronting her friends who were burning the flag, and man, she never talked to me again. Needless to say, I didn't get any of the desired outcome that I was looking for. But anyways, 219-845-1100. Hey, you're on the air. How are you?
Dear me, boy, how things haven't changed in your little brain at all, have they? You had no idea what was going on back then, and you still got no clue today, baby. I love it.
You know what? To some extent, I think you're right. I'm kind of in a tizzy right now. I can't make sense of the world right now. Can you?
I've been that way for about 40 years with you, though. Don't worry.
Can you make sense of what's happening in America right now?
Yeah. You know what I can? Because I remember telling you this back in 2015 when Trump was running to get elected. I go, this is going to be a battle between good versus evil. This is a battle between a group of people who want to take a guy who murdered 3 people, trafficked women, beat the hell out of his wife 4 times, and she prosecuted him for it. And you got Democrats trying to keep that idiot in what's out in California? He's in Maryland. They want to keep that guy in America and give him rights. He killed people. He trafficked children into the United States. He turned little Mexican girls into whores. He beat his wife. And they're
wait a second.
defending that guy.
We're talking not about Epstein, right?
Yeah, not about it's that Mexican dude. And,
I know which case you're
with
about.
the terrible haircut. His name
when
is
you
like
started saying
Akalaka
trafficking
Bika.
young women, I thought you were going to go to the Epstein thing because.
No one can listen. That's the stupidest thing I've heard. But that doesn't matter.
So wait, I just want to make sure to understand. There's good and evil in America right now. Who's the good guys?
The good guys are the conservative, like Dave from Gary mentioned yesterday. Well, what is conservatism? What is conservatism? Or if you have to ask the question, here's what conservatism is to a Democrat. It's the George Costanza theory. Whatever you think you should do, or whatever you think is right, do the opposite. Because everything the Democrats do is either usually insane, immoral, or borderline illegal. Like all of a sudden, just like that lady down in Crown Point with the Democrats who owns like 10 rental properties, and she checked the box saying, "Yeah, they're all my homestead. They're my permanent resident," and taking the big tax deduction, and then gets caught like that gigantic woman who's on the Federal Reserve Board who got fired yesterday, like the gigantic woman who tried to put Trump in jail because he borrowed a bunch of money and paid it back, and then he brought every single one of those bankers from Deutsche Bank in and said, "Hey, I borrowed money and I paid you back, right?" And they go, "Yeah, we got no crime here," but Lieutenant James tries to take $500 million out of the guy, and it got all overturned.
So, I mean, that's a roundabout way of saying that if you're with Trump, you're on the good side, and if you're not with Trump, you're on the evil side. Is that right?
Yeah, you're pretty much right on the nose, Jimmy. Exactly. Hey, I got to ask you, when Bradley Gimble just called in, did he tell you that he thinks that Trump never got shot? There was no suicide attempt or no assassination attempt on him. He thinks he thinks Trump getting shot was fake. He doesn't believe that happened. He thinks that guy who got killed, the young man who was the firefighter, a father with 3 girls, he thinks that was all fake. Did he mention that?
You know, I don't know, but I would refrain from telling doing hearsay about somebody else. And if he wants to call in and say that, I'll certainly take it. So if I can summarize here,
I'll put up $100.
If I could summarize here,
$100.
we have so far had a caller who is bewildered in the middle, and then we have a caller who is saying that Trump all good, anything not Trump evil. Okay, does that summarize it so far?
Oh, are you talking about Brad was your prior caller who you're saying was the guy who's
bewildered and can't figure things out?
Clueless in the middle?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of like when Harlow used to be on the air. And he's like, I'm in the middle. Hey, listen, champ, you get in the middle, you get run over.
All right. Hey, I got so many things to ask you, but I got to move it along. Hey, you're on the air. How are you?
All Trump good, everything else evil. 2-1.
Explain.
Why does Brandon Marshall and who's the fat jelly belly in the?
What is wrong with you? Can't it just be a Governor Pritzker of Illinois?
Yeah, you know
who I'm talking
about. You know exactly who Jelly Belly was. So who's the bad guy? Me for saying it, or you for knowing what I'm saying?
Well, there is a little gray line there. I'll give you, but all right. So, all not Trump bad, all Trump good. Don't you find any danger in, just blind following of one man?
I'm going to turn that around on you, Jimmy. I'm going to play devil's advocate, Marsha Honey, God rest her soul. Can you find anything good in what Trump is doing? And I got one more point. I don't want you to hang up on me. Can you find anything good Can you admit to anything good in your opinion that Trump's doing?
Oh, why would you ask that question? We've gone through this many
Because I know the
times.
answer.
We've gone through this many times about the general attitude of shaking up Washington, D.C. is something that, I have been an advocate for a long time, and that there are people entrenched in their positions and in their thinkings, and the elitism that was growing in the Democratic Party is just something that is just awful. And he was able to come in and kind of shake that up. One of the things right now that I don't think people really want to admit that are in the middle or on the left, even the talk about crime, and I'm not an advocate of using the armed forces for crime. I don't think that you should do that. But the talking about crime and admitting that it's difficult to go to Chicago and feel safe is very much a positive, because that has happened, and it has happened on these airwaves. Remember 12 years ago when Al Hamnick said, he goes, hey, it's going to get to the point where a family's not going to want to go to Chicago because it's too dangerous.
And didn't he lose his job for that?
Hit. He got hit hard. Well,
didn't he lose his job for saying that?
I don't know if that's why, but I'm certainly it was a factor in how he was. It wasn't, and I was like, dude, that's the reality of what's happening, and why he got so much heat for that. I'm still bewildered at it.
Well, the proof is in the pudding. Look at the District of Columbia. They've not had a murder there for over 2 weeks now. Pritzker and Brandon Marshall would rather see that city burn down than see Trump be successful with bringing in the National Guard. That's what the current Democratic Party is. They would rather it burn down. But I want to ask you a question on another topic real quick. Who's that little curmudgeon you have? The former Democratic chair? Who's that little troll guy?
You can't do that. I mean, I took the bait on Governor Pritzker. You're going to have to rack your own brain.
Wiser, the wiser guy. You keep talking about how wiser he's become, more aggressive and more emotional and more temperamental towards national and local politics since he stepped down. And Jimmy, I want to ask you a question to that point. When McDermott was on last week, I was watching. And when he announced he's a mental midget and he's going to see a therapist, the look on your face, it was like you got hit by a truck. What was the first thought that went through your mind when McDermott announced on these airwaves that he's going to see a psychiatrist, that his head's not right?
Well, first of all, I think you're making the wrong characterization of that conversation in two ways. One, that's not what he said. He never said his head wasn't right or whatever. He just said, I'm in therapy.
Why do you go?
And the second part of that is, I completely applaud that when people have, that's what I went to school for. And I was out here at South Lake Center for Mental Health. I was a therapist and worked with people, and I've always applauded that you can talk through some of your issues. And I was just not very good at it and got out of it. But, I was a counselor at a house, and that involved some of the group therapies and individual meetings and stuff. And I've always been a big fan of that when you need it. And it shines a light on the fact that you can have mental difficulties, either mental illness or challenges. So you're saying the exact opposite, that if you're seeing a therapist, that you're doing something wrong there. So I don't even know where I'm supposed to answer that question.
I didn't expect to get a straight answer. It's just the look on your face. If you will play it back, it's astounding when he announced he's going to see a therapist. And
I know what it was. It was, he's saying that, and quite frankly, I've interviewed 10,000 people in all these years. Sometimes my mind wanders a little bit, but it got my attention. He was like, Dewey's talking, and then all of a sudden he's like, well, I'm in therapy. I'm like, whoa, that's kind of an odd thing to admit. But, I applaud it. I applaud A, admitting it, and B, doing it. But
whatever.
It got my attention.
I
Kind of like
sure
when
is.
you're talking. If people look at me, they'd be like, "Is he really listening or not?" I don't know.
I'm just curious. You know, we entrust these guys to run our government and be our leaders. And I'll be honest with you, man. If I'm going to run through a wall for a guy, I want to make sure he knows how to spell wall before I run through it. And not, I got my questions now. You know, when a guy, whatever.
So,
I'll reserve.
so you agree with Mad Mac, like all good Trump, evil
without a
if you're
doubt.
not Trump.
Without a doubt. In today's Democratic Party, abso-flippin'-lutely. Yeah, without a doubt. Trump 100%, brother.
Now, do you think that that's how a lot of people in America just have such a very black and white, cut and dried way of thinking about Trump? And it's like anything he does, I'm good. Anything not Trump is bad. I mean, do you think there's a lot of people, or is it?
That question was answered on Election Day. This is what we voted for. More Trump, less Democratic BS.
All right, man. Hey, thanks for the phone call. Talk to you. All right, one more, then I got to take a break. Hey, you're on the air.
Hey, dude, I just need to tell you, don't brag about taking advantage of drug-addled women anymore, all right? It's not good. It's not a good look.
How do you guys stretch it to that?
Seriously.
Anyways, thank you. I said I would take one more, but that was a fake call. Hey, how are you? Hey, is Jed there?
Hello?
Hello, is Jed there?
Hey, so just a little insider baseball for you. I had a friend come, he lives in D.C. for about 3 years now, and he came in over the weekend. And I asked him, I said, well, what's it like? And he's like, you just walk around and you just have this sense of overwhelming, just safe. And he said him and his coworkers and everybody, they love it. He said it's completely changed. He said you walk around, you go out in the evening, you walk, and you don't even think twice. And he said it's great.
You know what? That is, I think when a guy asks, like, what is, positive out of this, there are two parts. Do you want to start using the military, and then how far can that go? And that could be a big problem down the line. But in the short term, Chicago is a mess, man, and it's not safe in many areas. And I agree with you. The hotel rooms are creeping up. I was thinking of maybe going up for a night over Labor Day. Now they're like through the roof because everybody's kind of looking at it and trying to be safe. And by that time, they may have federal troops.
Yeah, but
hey, hold on a second. I got to tell you something. I put this app on my phone to get the distance to yardage, and I have to put in scores, right? So I put in a bunch of scores, and it had my handicap way too low, okay? And I don't want that because I got to play with my buddies sometimes, right? So I had to go back and get my springtime rounds and put them in, and now I'm back to right around where I should be. But it's so cool that you can look on your phone and see exactly how far you are out. I've never had that. I never paid attention to any of the distance or anything like that. I'm like, this looks like a 7-iron. And what a difference it makes in your game.
Yeah, I'll say this. This is the time of the year where it seems like it starts to come together. It's usually like April and May. It's like, oh gosh, do I really just suck? And it seems like mid-August, early September, it's like, all right, we're getting this thing going.
Did you play in the MGA?
No, I had a funeral.
Yeah, I've been pretty much when football's coming, I can't play in it anymore. But I'm going to play in that last one in September.
Palmyra. Yeah.
Yeah, the Palmyra one. But I got this thing. It's called Swing U, SWINGU. And so it's got my handicap now, I think, around where it should be, like 14, I think is what it is. I'm hoping to get it up to 16 somehow, but you really just got to lie to have that happen.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, I got a GPS. It's a watch, and I just throw it in the cup holder, and then it comes with an app that does something similar to what you're talking about, but I've never used it.
Yeah,
I'm
all in because here's the reason. There's only one golf instructor that I've ever really listened to or watched, and that's Ben Hogan, because he says two things. He goes, swing with your legs. Don't worry about all that other stuff and all that, whatever. Swing with your legs and don't have any tension in your body. And if you just do that, you're going to hit the ball solid most of the time. But he used to say, and so did Jack Nicklaus, that don't go to the pin, go to the center of the green. Always. He goes, don't worry about it, because your mind will draw you to that pin, even if you're going to the center of the green. It's like tricking your mind.
Interesting.
And so I got this app. I was looking for an app that would only have the center of the green and not do the pin. And it took a while, but I found this one. All right, man. I'll let you know how it works after Golf League tonight. Talk to you. See you. All right, I'll be right back on the Voice and Face of the Region.